What's up? What's up? What's up, guys? We are back for episode number 2. It's November 3rd. This is the best NBA show going on Twitter right now. Our first episode, Dad, we had 5,000 viewers. I know you want to hit 10,000 today, but how are you doing?
Good, brother. How are you doing? Yeah, that's the goal for today. So we appreciate everyone who's been hopping in. 5,000 on the first episode. It was kind of crazy. We know the first episode sometimes takes a little time to get things up and running, but yeah, we were really happy with the way that the first one went. So yeah, the goal today is a 10K episode for sure.
Awesome. So let's set the stage real quick. We're doing this because of our friends at Seven Stack Sports. Just a couple tidbits of information for them. They're going to do a 150% free play bonus to all new customers. They do daily payouts. Again, that's daily payouts if you're using cryptocurrency for deposits. Minus 105 on Juice for NFL and NBA plays. Most books have it at minus 110, so minus 105 is huge. They've been in the industry for over 3 years, almost 2,000 customers. And I do know they have 24/7 support because you and I did. We message him at like 2 a.m. all the time and he's around. But
They're
again,
still
the
around.
big
Yeah.
the big thing is they do daily payouts. So that's a big difference maker. Let's go ahead and start with last night's slate if you want to start on it, Dad.
Yeah. So, for last night, I don't know how you did, AC, but I had a 2-2 night, kind of evened out in the NBA. My big play did hit on the Heat at minus. We had the Heat -2, so good one there. But I
Nice.
thought it was a pretty interesting slate. How about that Suns cover? I don't know if you saw that
I
late
did.
at night.
I
That
did. It was a personal play on the live for me. They were down, I think 15, and I was like, okay, there's no way they're gonna lose this game. So I live them minus 1.5. They got it all the way back, and then when I checked the score again, they were back down 15. So I was like,
yeah.
what the heck is going on? But then the last like 8 minutes of the fourth quarter, the Pelicans just couldn't score at all. So that was a pretty crazy comeback. I think that's what is annoying with the NBA right now is like the first 3.5 quarters may not even matter. Like it just
Mhm.
comes down to the last 6 minutes. I was on Celtics on Monday night. I think you were on too, and they got outscored by like 35
Well,
points in the fourth quarter. They did not grab one defensive
I was about to
rebound.
say that stat. That
It's
was the craziest stat for me that they didn't get one rebound. But I do want to say, for everyone watching right now, too, with the NBA, what I always do, like, so I threw a little bit of money on the Bulls live. They're like plus like 2,000 at the time we did it. It was like plus like 600. So ended up not losing any money in the game. But yeah, I mean the NBA is crazy, man. With these comebacks, there's so much value in betting the NBA live. Not only money lines and spreads, but totals as well. So I advise you really if you're a live better to stay on top of it with the NBA because 20-point leads get erased in today's game with a 3-point line being such a big focus in like a quarter. So I definitely always focus on the live NBA. But let's talk about a few more games last night. AC impressive win for the Heat. I tweeted this out last
yeah.
night. I got a little bit of a fight back with it, but I think the Heat are the best team in the East right now. With the makeup of this roster, I just think they have a bunch of dogs on that team. Hardworking guys. They add PJ Tucker in the offseason, NBA champion, Kyle Lowry, NBA champion. So they're getting experience, right, with young talent as well. And guys like Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, they have really good shooters. And Jimmy Butler looks like he's going to have a crazy year with
Yeah.
the way he started. Not to mention, obviously at Bam in that lineup. I think Dwayne Dedmon's been really good for them off the bench. I just think they're the deepest team right now in the East. What's your thoughts on the Heat early on?
I fully agree with you. Just to level set, we are live on Twitter. We're live on YouTube and we're live on Twitch. So thank you everybody for the comments. We're getting a lot of support here. Cheese 2027 or 2017 says let's go. Love to see it. Todd Hilton, let's go. New show. Love it. But you're right. Like with the Miami Heat, not only are they good, like their roster is built for the playoffs, but they have a bunch of dogs that are going to play hard in the regular season too. Like they're not going to take any games off. And I think that's why you see them have such a great record. I think they're 5-1 or 6-1. And Dallas was 4-2 last night. Not a bad team. I think they're a little overrated. But 4-2 at home is still a solid team, and Miami just took it to them. So I agree with you there. I
Mhm.
think the move for Kyle Lowry was a a bit of an overpay, but I think it just really consolidates that lineup. And Tyler Hero right now is playing.
He's playing out of his
Uh,
mind.
yeah, he's run away for six man of the year, and honestly, he could be most improved player as
Right.
well. But yeah, earlier in the night, we had the Bucks Pistons. Pistons was a huge trendy pick. Milwaukee had so many guys missing from Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, COVID related issues. So a
Mhm.
lot of people were saying, Pistons, Pistons, Pistons. It started around at +6 and went to +5. So the move there was good, but honestly, it was to me, it was like a patented Vegas pump fake. Like it
Mhm.
was not a Pistons play. Kate Cunningham, who was the number one overall pick, I don't know, you saw this tweet I posted, but he is now 0 and 14 from three in his first two games in the NBA, which is terrible. I just want to point that out. We had the Kings Jazz. That was actually a pretty cool game. I didn't really get to watch all of it, but it was awesome highlights. Davion Mitchell was guarding Donovan Mitchell, so there was a lot of cool plays, a lot of athleticism there. Jazz won by 6. But let's get into this late game. Rockets, Lakers. Lakers came back from a huge they were down, double digits. They came back, which wasn't unexpected, but then they lost the cover at the end as well. Were you following this game, Dad?
So what I did here, AC, I hopped on the Rockets team total under live. So first I was like, I'm gonna play it small at 116 and a half. That didn't hit, but then I kept adding on, and my bigger play hit at 119 and a half. So the Rockets team total, was able to sneak under despite a late scare. The Rockets actually had a look to win the game. I believe it was Kevin Porter Jr.
Mm-hmm.
misfired on a last second three. So I mean, my opinion on the Lakers, AC. I'm not super high on them this year. I just don't think that they're made up to make a deep run. To be honest, I don't think they have enough shooting. I worry about their health. Of this team, it seems like they're coming along a little bit with their big three. Right, Russ played well last night. Despite a little bit of a cold start, they had to expect that it's going to take them a minute to mesh together. But yeah, I'm not super high on this Laker team. I mean, they've played some games close, right, against pretty bad opponents. Like the Rockets stink, and
Yeah.
they win that game by 2. They had a couple other really close
The
wins
the
this year.
Rockets covered in back-to-back games. They had that
Right.
crazy comeback to cover 10 and a
They had
half,
that
and then
backdoor too.
yeah,
Yeah.
obviously they covered last night plus
And it
10.
seems like the Lakers too. I mean, maybe it's just the way they're playing. Maybe down to competition. But even like the Spurs, they squeaked by them in overtime.
Yeah.
That Cavs game, they were down going to the fourth quarter. So I'm not super high on them this season. But I mean, they did their job ultimately and won those back to back games. But from a gambling standpoint, they haven't been a very good team to back on the young season.
Yeah, they're just like, I think we mentioned this on Monday, but they're like the Chiefs, right? They're like the
Yeah.
trendy, everybody loves them. It's a big name. The
Mhm.
Lakers are kind of like the, marquee, one of the marquee franchises in the league, just like the Chiefs are in the NFL, and they just don't cover. There's a lot of news right now. This is kind of a side note, but with Aaron Rodgers getting COVID and everyone's probably pounding KC right now. But I would be cautious about that, just like the Lakers. Like if you hear, I don't know, Jalen Green, who is balling right now. If Jalen Green was out last night, everybody would have hammered the Lakers. I guarantee you they wouldn't have covered either. So,
Rockets still
um,
cover, yeah.
yeah, Rockets would have still covered. Let's get into tonight's slate, Dead. I think that kind of completes last night. We only had 5 games, not a lot of action.
It was
I
a light
personally
slate.
was 1-1, so I had the under on Milwaukee, which won, and then I also had the under on the Miami Dallas game, which lost. Miami scored like 45 points in the second quarter, which killed my under there. But before we get into tonight's slate, Dead, do you want to talk about the mega odds boost that Seven Stacks is hosting right now?
Yes, so let's get into that first. If we get that on the screen, here we go. So this is a massive odds boost, guys, for everybody who is joining us. The Hornets we're going to boost to plus 77, or the Warriors plus 77. And on top of this, you're getting this at a plus 200 price. This is just an unbelievable odds boost that's being offered here by Seven Stacks Bets. Make sure you guys DM them, DM AC or me, and we will, get you guys to them to get set up here. But look, this is free money, guys, obviously, and you're not getting this at any juice. You're getting this at plus 200. So unless one of these teams somehow, some way wins by 78 points, what we just don't see happening here. please take advantage of this insane mega odds boost being done by Seven Stack Sportsbook. So make sure you guys take advantage of that tonight. It'll be a great game, honestly, overall.
One caveat there, it is only eligible for new customers. So please DM myself or Dead Prez or Seven Stacks to get you set up. We are trying to work with Seven Stacks right now to hook up current customers, right? We're trying to make sure both customers are taken care of, new and old. So be on the lookout for that. Let's get into tonight's slate, Dead.
Alrighty, so let's start here, AC. We're going to start with my 76ers and the Chicago Bulls. Is this line a little weird
Ooh.
to you? The Sixers here at -2, facing maybe the hottest team in the NBA, one of the hottest teams in the NBA.
Is trust the process Joel Embiid playing tonight?
The thing with Embiid is you just never quite know. But I know Tobias is officially out. I believe
Oh, interesting.
that Embiid, right now it says he's set to make his return. So as of right now, yes, he's playing. Do we trust that?
This is a Boston Celtics part 2
That's what it feels like.
screamer. Yeah,
It
right.
feels like
It's
it's
another
Sixers, right?
it's another Philly play here. The Bulls arguably are the hottest team, one of the hottest team, them and Miami and the Knicks. They both all three only have one losses, but yeah, this is a Sixers play for me. I'm definitely gonna have to wait closer to tip off to see if Joel is playing, but there was no Joel, no Tobias previous game, and they not only covered, but they won pretty comfortably against the Blazers. So
Yeah.
my pick there would be Philly.
Yeah, I'm in alignment with you there. I mean, I think the Bulls eventually you're going to see them get a little bit of a letdown here. I think as long as Embiid goes, because there's always that big question mark around Joe with him playing. But if he goes, I think that they'll be able to win this one, and knock off the Bulls. All right, Celtics and Magic tonight here.
Oh,
AC
F the
Celtics.
Celtics, man.
That's been the mood. A little bit of. After the game issues too with Marcus Smart kind of calling out Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Um, what do you think here? I mean, the Magic, the last time we talked about the Magic against the T-Wolves, we said they were going to cover that game, right? +9
Yeah.
or whatever it was. They're going to keep getting these big spreads because they're just not very good. But do they cover 7 at home tonight versus Boston?
I think the sucker play here is Boston, right? Everybody's probably thinking this is a get right spot for them. They're on the road. It's a steaming road favorite. By far the superior team. They still have Jason Tatum, who is a top 15, top 25 player in the NBA. I'm not going to get into that list. And Jaylen Brown is balling as well. I mean, their fourth quarter numbers on Monday were absolutely horrible, but I think Boston is a sucker play here. Orlando did come off a cover themselves against the Timberwolves. So for me, Dead, this is more of a layoff. Let me take a look at the totals real quick.
It's at 212.5 right now.
Maybe an under here, but definitely not a side for me. What about you?
This is one that I really do. I do like the Magic here. I just can't trust the Celtics right now, like at all. So I mean, it's going to be one that I'm just going to probably lay off. But I think the Magic cover this and could potentially win this outright. The Celtics, they're scoring a lot, but their defenses just look brutal early here in the season. So I don't trust them enough right now to lay a number like 7 by any means. A big one here tonight, AC.
It's a big sign. It's a big sign that you're willing to trust Orlando over Boston right now. Like that's the state of the Celtics, yo.
And yeah, that's just how they are right now. Let's move along here to the Knicks and Pacers, AC. I have a problem with fading the Knicks this year. I've had a fine NBA season, but the Knicks have been that kryptonite that like I can't beat. I think I faded them like 3 times, 0-3 so far. Do we fade them tonight here again with the Pacers? Here, remember they get Malcolm Brogdon back. They've just got Karis LeVert back, so they're getting healthy, right? What do you think here?
You heard it here first. Indiana is going to be one of my plays tonight. I think the Knicks are awesome. I think Coach Tibbs always has them prepared. They're always going to try hard on defense. The new retooled backcourt that they have, with Fournier, who is a great shooter, Kemba, Derrick Rose, like they have a lot of stability in their backcourt, and it's a good team. They're definitely playing better than I thought. But I would say Indy's the value here. New York is always going to be the public play. It's going to be an extra public play tonight. So give me Indy. I like to fade the public.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think this is a Pacers play for sure. I'm really, a big Malcolm Brogdon fan. There was news that broke earlier, in the summer. The Sixers actually turned down a deal that involved Brogdon with Ben, and I didn't like
And
that.
yeah, I don't understand why Indy would give up Brogdon. Like
Yeah,
he is so underappreciated.
I agree, and he's young still. He's 28. Like he's not. It's not like he's really that old. I mean, he's a 20 plus point scorer. He's a really
Yeah.
good passer too. He actually rebounds the ball really well as well. But Brogdon, just overall, I think he's a really good player. I think getting him back is a massive spark for the Pacers now with LeVert back.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a pretty good roster still. I think
Agreed.
in Indy, I don't think they're a bad team. And with this line here, I think this line is suggesting that we do get the Pacers with a win tonight, and I got to do it again. I apologize to the Knicks fans, my boy Alpha Dog Bets, but we're gonna have
Fourth
to.
time. The fourth time is the
Fourth time, it's
charm.
got to work. I will
Yeah.
just keep fading
I
the.
would say this additionally about Malcolm Brogdon. A lot of people think about, the great shooters in the history of the league, right? You think Nash, Steph Curry, Dirk, Larry Bird, they all had a 50-40-90 season. So 50% from the floor, 40% from three, and 90% from the free throw line. Not many people know that Brogdon is also in that list. So he is very, very efficient as a player. And I think his plus minuses with and without him on the floor for Indy is astronomical. So I do like Brogdon coming back tonight. I agree with Dad. It potentially could be a play of the day for me with Indy.
Mm-hmm. I am high on Indy as well. So good thing we are aligned there, my friend. All right, let's move along. This is this Trailblazers Cavs play. So what I have to get out here. So my VIP guys got this last night at -3. Now it's up to 5.5. So I'm very happy about that. But I feel bad about it now because I want to tell you guys to go bet on the Blazers, but now you're not getting the best line. Now it sits at 5.5. So even this morning, I did an article play on this, and it was -4 at like 11 a.m. So it's just,
Mhm.
I think this thing closes honestly closer to 7. What do you think in this one?
Yeah, this is a Blazers or nothing spot for me as well. We're agreeing on a lot
Yeah,
of
we
games
better
today,
hope we're on today.
but I mean, like, Kevin Love is out, Laurie Marketing is out, Okoro has been out, but I think COVID is slowly going through this team, so there might be some last minute scratches, whether that's Sexton or Mobley or Garland. So definitely look towards the injury news or the COVID related news in this game. I think it's 5.5 right now for the Blazers, but I agree with Dad. It's going to continue to go up. The only thing here is just watch out for Dame. Like he looks a little he's not as focused in my opinion this year. He's not shooting as well. He's basically 12 points under his points per game average from the last couple years. So it could be a big breakout game for him, but I think if Portland really wants to cover tonight, it's going to really be dependent on the other guys. So, Norm Powell, CJ McCollum, guys like that who really need to shoot well from three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting point you make with Dame there, AC, because we're just so accustomed to seeing him, so dominant, and he's really struggled to shoot the ball. I gotta believe he'll turn it around eventually, probably sooner than later. But yeah, good point to be noted as well. Going to need some other guys to step up. All right, let's move along with a game that'll be in our nation's capital. We got the Wizards here at -3.5 against Toronto. Remember, these teams met early in the season, the first game of the
Mhm.
season, and the Wizards beat up on them. I mean, it was a 15-point win, but it was really worse than that. Kind of the bench there made it look closer at the end than it was. I'm going to be on Toronto tonight here, AC. What are you thinking?
Oh, this could be our first disagreement. I like Toronto as a team. I
Mhm.
think I was on their total team wins under actually for the year, but just watching them, especially with Scotty Barnes, they've just been a really fun team to watch. However, Barnes is out tonight, and I think that's a big missing piece for Toronto. I think Washington has a lot of firepower with obviously Bradley Beal, Dinwiddie, Kuzma. Like these guys are actually playing really well for them. So I like Washington at home. I know it's square, but give me the Wizards on the spread.
Yeah, I'm just kind of betting on a little bit of a bounce back game here,
Yep.
AC from the Raptors. Anytime, it's an early season spot for them. I think the Wizards regress a bit. I think they're playing a little bit above their heads.
Hmm.
So I'm willing to fade them and take a value shot here on the Raptors at plus 135. The Hawks and the Nets. Interesting line here at -5. I say that because I don't know if the Nets should be laying 5 with the way they've played early in this season. What side are you leaning with in this one?
This one's tough. I mean, the Nets at home. Nets are one of those teams that will always be public just because of the name behind them. Um, but if John Collins is a go tonight, and I believe he's questionable for the Hawks, I just think Atlanta. I think Atlanta's continuity. They've been playing now for a couple years together. Trey Young has been taking another step up towards the All NBA level. Bogdanovich is back tonight, so I think they have enough firepower to keep up with the Nets. And yeah, give me Atlanta on the road tonight. I think it's 5 points. I don't think the Nets should be favored by 5 anytime.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not laying that with the Nets right now by any means. I do like the over in this game at 220.5. I don't know. I wanted to ask you, do you think that games are going under more? Like, I don't have a statistical thing to back this, but it feels like these totals are much lower. Like, I haven't seen many 230. Like, there was years we'd see 240, right? But I think it's the new foul rule, like
Yeah,
you know.
as of 2 nights ago. So full disclosure, there was Monday night. There were 9 NBA games. I told my guys to blanket bet the under on all 9 of them. I thought it was going to go 6-3, maybe 5-4. It ended up going 4-5. But even with that 4-5 Monday night unders have been going 63 and 39 this year in the NBA. So the unders are hitting at a crazy rate. The books will probably adjust very soon, but just a second Dead's point, the unders are hitting. There's definitely less free throws, and I think just the fact that people are kind of adjusting to the rules. I think there's just a lot less a lot less motion. It's not as fluid as it has been the last couple years, which in my opinion I'm good with. Like I was tired of the 130 to 140 type games. Like I want to see some defensive stops. I want to see baskets being worth more than just a regular basket. So I'm good with it. The unders have been hitting. There will be an adjustment from the book soon, so kind of look for that moving forward.
Well,
All right.
I lost you for a second. See, they
Yeah,
keep
no
coming.
worries, no worries. I was just telling, I
No,
was
I
telling the.
heard it all though, but yeah,
Okay.
it was a very good point that you made there with the unders. I didn't have any of those stats to be honest. I was just kind of from betting the NBA for a few years now. I'm like these totals look way like you were used to seeing like 230, even like the 240s, right? For like
Yeah.
the Bucks and the Nets type of
And
game.
it would hit. The over
It
would
would,
hit still. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll just maybe the overs are due, so it could be a good over spot tonight. Want to move along here, AC, to the Nuggets and Grizzlies. These two
Mm,
teams just met, I believe, Monday night. Grizzlies did win that. I think we were both high on the Grizz on the show. However, I actually
yeah.
just fully hedged out of that game because then we had Ja. It didn't look like Ja was going to go. Of course, he goes and they win pretty convincingly. Do the Nuggets bounce
Yeah.
back here tonight, AC, in this spot?
Was that game in Memphis or Denver? Do you remember?
That game, I believe, was in Memphis, right?
In Memphis. Okay. Um, it's it's a very weird spread. 1.5 points after Memphis kind of took control and dominated that game, especially late. So this is kind of fishy for me. I maybe it's a Nuggets money line play. Um, I don't know how, Jokic and Porter performed in that game, but the line to me suggests it's a Denver play after getting blown out and the spread is lower. So to me, just going off those numbers, I like Denver, but it's something where I definitely have to look into it more. It's another potential overplay for this game.
Right.
If they get hot from three, like if Porter Jr. hits 5 or 6 threes, I think this is blowing way over the 215 number.
Yeah, it's a good point you make about the threes. The Nuggets shot the three ball just 23% in that last matchup, and Porter only scored 10 points. So they were far from being on their normal game. Jokic played well with 23, 7, and 7, but that's kind of what you always expect from the Joker. So I'm with you here. I think the Nuggets do bounce back, and that other game was in Memphis, so it's kind of weird to
Okay.
see back to back home games against the same opponent, but we see that tonight. I think the Nuggets get it done. I like the Nuggets here as a slight dog. Clippers and T Wolves. What's going on with the Clippers? How concerned are we about the Clippers? And their favorite tonight here, laying 2.5 on the road.
There's
D'Angelo Russell out. I believe Patrick Beverly is a game time decision again for the T Wolves. Don't know how much that matters, but Russell is a notable guy, obviously, to be out. Marcus Morris Sr. still out for the Clippers. So who wins this one? It's a 2.5 point spread currently.
Yeah, so the Clippers right now are currently 2-4 against the spread. Minnesota are also 2-4 against the spread. It's actually two kind of struggling teams right now. Like you said, the Clippers are coming off a pretty impressive. Sorry, they're coming off a 99-94 win against OKC. They only won that game by 5 while being favored by 13, so they were not covering. They haven't covered in 3 straight games. And then on the other side, the Timberwolves have lost 2 straight. They started off really well, but I don't know, maybe injuries to D'Angelo or someone, but their field goal percentage have taken a huge dip. This previous game, they only shot 37% from the field. The game before that, only 38% from the field. So I actually kind of see them bouncing back from an offensive standpoint tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the Clippers can hang with them. If it's just Paul George, if it's just Terrence Mann, like I don't know. I kind of lean the Timberwolves here, which is against the line movement. I think it started at Clippers -1, now is up to Clippers -2.5. But it's just an example of one of those games where I don't always follow line movement. So my gut right here is Timberwolves.
Yeah, and as we're talking about totals, they see the Clippers T Wolves games. I know for a fact last year these were like 235, 240. It's
Mm,
212 right now on the over under. So, I mean, we just had a comment too in the StreamYard. It was from Kyle. He said about the rule changes, like we were saying, and it is very true. It's killing overs in a lot of cases because the game's quicker, right? And I like it more. I mean, as a fan, you don't
yeah.
see these BS fouls, happen. So I mean, maybe this goes over, but the Clippers are struggling offensively. I think maybe Reggie Jackson was performing a little bit over, his
He was
abilities last
balling
year.
in the playoffs. Yeah,
Yeah, he was, but he was never like that before, So
he
what
wasn't.
did
Yeah.
that just come? And I think the Marius and Ibaka injuries really hurt them. Obviously, Kawhi injury kills them. So as far as his side, I think it's a coin flip. Maybe I'm going with overs tonight. I don't know why. They all look good to me. Mavericks, your Mavericks here. They come into this one against the Spurs. -2. They're coming off of a kind of a blowout loss last night. Don't want to say
Yeah.
blowout. It was pretty competitive, but it ended up being a blowout loss last night. Remember, these two teams just met in Dallas over a week ago. Mavericks did win, but they did not cover. What do we think tonight? I like the Spurs here as a home dog. What do you
Oh,
think?
this is another disagreement, and this is something where we mentioned this on Monday, but Dallas doesn't cover. Like Luca is one of the golden boys of the NBA, and he's
Mhm.
awesome. But you don't get me wrong by any means, but Dallas just never covers. And you're right. Last night's game against Miami was an indication of just how they don't have any depth at all. Like they were doing
Mhm.
well when the starters were in. Dorian Finney-Smith was D'ing up Jimmy Butler pretty well there. But then when Tyler Hero comes in, when Dwayne Dedman comes in for Miami, they just take over the game, and the bench for the Mavs just can't compete. And again, I believe Porzingis is still out, so that's a
Mhm.
big missing piece for Dallas. But to me, I think this is a game where the best player on the court just has to will his team to win. I think it's only like a -1, -2 spread. So I
Mhm.
wouldn't be worried about that. Like just do the money line. I think Dallas is the better, the more talented team. Obviously, it's a second night of back to back and they're on the road. So a couple of things going against them. But the fact that it's steaming towards them, I do like Dallas tonight. And it's another game where you and I disagree, Dad.
Yep. One of us has to be right, I guess. So, AC, let's talk about this odds boost. What because we're going to get into this game. We just had a bunch of people hop on as we were pushing this odds boost. So, for everyone, here it is, guys. Please make sure you take advantage of this. This is being boosted by Seven Stacks Sportsbook. We got the Hornets to plus 77, the Warriors to plus 77. You get it at plus 200. Simply DM at Seven Stack Sports for info. You could also reach out to AC or me, and we'll direct you to them. But this should be a great game. I mean, odds boost aside, obviously that odds boost is beautiful, and it's going to get a lot of people some free cash for the weekend. But Hornets and Warriors tonight, AC. Both of these teams have been good to start the season, especially the Warriors. I mean, they've been really impressive for not having, James Wiseman and Klay Thompson so far,
Yeah.
who, remember, they're going to be added to this roster. They come out here 5-1, right? And their only loss was a pretty bad. I say they should have won that game against the Grizzlies, right? They ended up losing that in overtime, but they've been super impressive otherwise. What do you think tonight? They're laying 6 at home against the Hornets.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. There's a lot of side stories to this. Remember, Golden State passed up LaMelo in the draft for James Wiseman, who's been hurt now for half his career. Imagine if LaMelo is passing the ball to Steph Curry
And
and
Clay.
and Clay for those threes. Like it'd be
And Draymond.
nuts. And Draymond would just airball the three. But just some stats here. Charlotte is 5-3 against the spread. Golden State, although they're 5-1 overall, they're only 3-3 against the spread. It's a pretty big spread tonight at 6 points. The Warriors are at home at Chase Center, beautiful new stadium. But I kind of like the Hornets to bounce back. One thing or one angle from a betting perspective that you should look into is Hornets fourth quarter. They are an elite team. There's so many occasions already this season where they could be down or it could be tied going into the fourth, and they just dominate that fourth quarter. Miles Bridges goes off, LaMelo's energy just takes over, and they not only come back to win, but they come back to cover. It's happened 2 or 3 times already today. I mean, already this season. Again, they are coming off they didn't cover their previous game while Golden State did cover. So I kind of like the spot here for the Hornets at +6.
This is one again. Now, see, we're disagreeing on these later ones, AC. So at least we have some mix up. I like the Warriors. I guess we're not fully disagreeing because I like the Warriors first half at -3.
Okay.
It's 3.5 some places. I mean, I obviously feel a little more comfortable with 3. Just the hook always gets you at times. But I think the Warriors come out. They play well in the first half. Ultimately, the game like 6 is a lot to a team like the Hornets. It's going to leave a lot of room for a backdoor cover and just kind of a late run. So.
Yeah.
I like the Warriors here in the first half.
Okay. I like
Give it
I
a
like that a
feel.
lot. Another good betting angle when it comes to Warriors games is they have an elite free throw shooting team, and it's been like this for basically a decade, right? While Steph
Really
Curry's been
important.
on the team, so teams like the Lakers with LeBron and Russell Westbrook, you kind of
Mhm.
fade the fourth quarter because you know they're going to miss those free throws. But teams like Golden State and Miami, even they're going to hit these free throws, and they're if they're in the lead, they most likely will keep the lead unless the other
Right.
team just gets really hot from the field. So a couple other things to definitely watch out when you look at tonight's game.
That is a great point. So let's go to our final game of the night. We appreciate having, everyone in this live stream has really gotten, a ton of people coming in and out as the show goes on. So we really appreciate everyone who stuck out to the final game with us. And it's not, the hottest game on the market, but the Pelicans and Kings. The Kings laying 4.5 right now, total at 220. Both of these teams coming off a back-to-back, correct? The Kings played last night as well. So, what is your thoughts on this one? Because I like the Kings a lot here at home.
Yeah, the Kings are one of my teams that I identified before the season. I'm on their over win total. For this game particularly, I like the over, especially there in Sacramento. I think it's a barrage of threes, right, from Buddy Hield to Harrison Barnes. They just shoot a lot, and their pace is very, very high. I think I would personally have to do a little more research on this, but I think teams on a second night of a back to back, I don't think their offense suffers as much as their defense. I think their effort on defense naturally goes down just because of the energy level. and then they focus more on shooting and offense. So I do like the over in this game, and I agree with you. I lean the Kings at home playing the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that we're getting a solid team here in the Kings. I think the Kings are a little undervalued, to be honest, from the Bucks perspective. Like, I think they're just a lot more talented than the Pels. Without Zion and Bi, that they've been beaten up. Last night though, I had Valanciunas is under on points AC, and this man turned into like Kareem in the first half. He had like 16 at halftime, and so maybe he's the X factor in this game. I don't know if he just did that against me last night, but they're another team. They just don't have depth. Like once you get to the Pelicans bench, you're
Yeah.
Googling some of these guys' names. Like that's where they're
and
at currently.
and they're part of or they're in a transition year, right? It's
Mhm.
it's not Stan Van Gundy, it's Willie Green. They're at head coach. One interesting thing is it's different from last year. Last year they had a bad record and they were not covering. This year they're 1-7, which is terrible. But they're actually 4-4 against the spread. So you can find spots with New Orleans.
Yeah.
I think without Zion, people just fade them blindly, but they are 4-4 against the spread. And then on the other side, Sacramento is 3-4 overall, but they are 4-3 against the spread. They've actually hit the under 12 of the last 17 games, which is a trend that makes me kind of like the over even more today. So just some numbers there for you.
Yeah, those are very good ones. I didn't, and that's including a Pelican spread that they should have covered, right, last night. So, they've been a good team. But I think the Kings tonight, I like them at home for sure. So we'll just do a little recap there on the games. We're in alignment in a lot of these, but we just wanted to go over everything tonight for you guys and make sure we got you covered. Remember, we're doing this 3 times a week, AC. So we'll be
Yep.
on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Usually 1 or 2 Eastern time. Just going to kind of, pinball back and forth with that. And we'll let you guys know, obviously, well in advance. This episode, as always, remember, as it says on the screen, guys, follow at 7stack Sports on Twitter. Again, we have a massive odds boost tonight. We have the Hornets plus 77. We have the Warriors plus 77. There it is. Beautiful. At plus 200. Mega odds boost. DM 7 stacks. I just looked at my Twitter, a ton of DMs already from you guys, how to get set up with them. I will, point you guys in that right direction. I'm sure AC's inbox will be full after the show as well. So we'll get you guys set up. But, hundreds of you should be taking advantage of this because who doesn't like free money, AC?
For sure. I'm busy doing all these banners behind the scenes, so I haven't checked my DMs yet. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you again for 7stack Sports. Good luck on your bets tonight, and then come back on Friday for our Friday show.
All right,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Yep. Take care.